Hey, what's good, everybody? Here's your boy, Mr. Ed, coming at you live on a Sunday night here. And once again, we got more stories. I mean, as a matter of fact, it doesn't really seem what's going on. Their stories just coming out of the woodwork. It's kind of ridiculous that there's no such thing as a non-news cycle day. There's no such thing as having a Sunday off because there's just one story right after another. But I'm only planning on being on here for about 10 minutes or so. I don't want to go too long, but I wanted to get into this particular story here because this is something that's always kind of really just has gotten under my skin time and time again over the years. And to be perfectly honest with you, the best way I can put it doesn't really just get under my skin. It pisses me off to no end. And here's what I mean. Every time that you have a Republican that they're ahead in the polls, they're ahead in a race, they're ahead, they declared victory, then all of a sudden the Democrat comes from behind. Where do they get all the votes? Ultra phenomenal, because you're just like, okay, where did this come from? And it's always late at night, which is the tragic comedy of it when you think about it. And I'm going to pull that story off here because I'm going to get to that here in a minute. And then whenever the Republican falls behind, it is always the people on the left that say, well, you need to concede. We won. Even if it's by one vote, doesn't matter. They could have been trailing on election night, 100,000 votes, doesn't matter. The moment a Republican falls behind one vote, they don't want to recount. It's just a done deal. And then to make matters worse, you have establishment Republicans, the RINOs, that are going to go ahead and say, you know what, for the good of the country, we're going to go ahead and concede. For the good of the country, we're going to go ahead and do this. And then you got the NPCs on the right. Yes, we got NPCs on the right as well, too. And they're like, well, it's just one election. We'll regroup and do things over in 4 years or 2 years or whatever it is. But you know what? I am sure the people of Venezuela thought they'd be able to get another election, too. Positive. How'd that work out for them? Well, today, Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander kind of went along these same lines. He's a third-term senator there out of the state of Tennessee. And I'll throw the article back up here, and let's give it its full attention here, full screen layout. Not the ad, although I don't know what drink that is. Anyway, so Lamar Alexander is saying that the president needs to put the country first and just accept the election results. Now, I understand YouTube's got their policy, and as far as they're concerned, it's undisputed. Joe Biden won in discussion. There is no such thing as voter fraud. There is no such thing as irregularities, except there's plenty of evidence out there, and it's just a matter of actually investigating up to this point. So the president hasn't conceded. And there's still a few pathways to victory for the president at this particular point. But in all honesty, in all candor, anybody who's looking at this and not looking at it through rose-colored glasses, the probability of Joe Biden being sworn in here on January 20th, very high if you're just looking at it through a conventional lens. Now, of course, this being 2020, who knows what's going to happen over the next month and a half. So Lamar Alexander here, and we'll get into the article. He said in an interview that aired this morning that he hopes that President Trump will put the country first and congratulate President-elect Joe Biden on his victory. Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, Alexander said there should not be any doubt after Monday when the Electoral College casts its votes across the nation about the winner of the November 3rd presidential election. Here's the problem. Let's just stop right there. There is doubt. That's the problem. This isn't like in 2008 when Obama won. Now, I was pushing hard for McCain. And even though I felt in my heart of hearts that McCain was a weak candidate, I was pushing hard still because I lived in Illinois for a time. I knew who Barack Obama was before the nation knew. And I knew this was not going to be a good thing. And it wasn't. Now, when we say that there was no there's nothing to contest here. That's garbage. When Obama won, he won point blank in the story. There was no question about that. There's plenty of questions going on here. Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, and to a certain degree, other major metropolitan areas. So there's plenty of doubt going on right here. So to say that this was a clean-cut election, that's nonsense. Article continues, the states have counted, certified their votes. The Tennessee Republican told Chuck Todd, the courts have resolved the disputes, except they haven't. It looks very much like the electors will vote for Joe Biden. It does look like that way, doesn't it? We'll know come tomorrow, won't we? And even then, that doesn't really mean anything. Wait till January 6th. It goes here. And when they do, I hope he puts the country first. Mean the president. I think they meant meaning, so we need another editor from Politico here. But he takes pride in his considerable accomplishments, that he congratulates the president-elect and helps him get off to a good start, especially in the middle of this pandemic. We need not lose one day in the transition in getting the vaccine out to everybody who needs it. What does the transition have to do with anything about a vaccine? Assuming the vaccine doesn't give you like HIV or something like that, a third arm, some crazy stuff like that. Alexander, who is retiring from the U.S. Senate after 3 terms, is among the minority Republicans on the Hill who have been receptive to the idea that Biden actually won the election. Trump has steadfastly refused to concede, telling Fox News in an article that aired Sunday morning, it's not over. We keep going, and we're going to continue forward. In discussing threats made against the election officials in various states, Alexander looked at history to say that the ability to transfer power in a peaceful fashion is one of the key features of a democracy. I think the most important thing for our country, as George Washington said when it was founded, is not the first election, but the second election, the orderly transfer of power. I think anything that detracts from that is not good for our democracy. It's a constitutional republic there, Slappy. He said, I think anything that detracts from that is not good for our democracy, and people can make their own judgments about whether the president's acting appropriate or not. People. Well, let's dissect this for a second. Let's dissect this. And this has got me kind of so upset that I actually need some smoky time. YouTube doesn't like it. Whoever doesn't like it, F them. Anyway, you want to talk about an orderly, peaceful transfer of power? Where was that orderly transfer of power in 2016? Oh, no. I understand. Barack Obama graciously left office, but he served his 2 terms. That's it. 2. Done. He served his 2 terms, did his bit, and no problem, right? But come Inauguration Day, it's been one hammer thrown at the president after another. And it wasn't just thrown at the president. It was thrown at people like you and me. Remember Maxine Waters when she said, don't let them go anywhere. Don't get in their face. Don't give them any respite. Nothing like that. See, there was no orderly transfer of power. I mean, yes, the president did get to assume the office of the presidency, but what was Obama going to do? Stay there for a 3rd term? Hillary Clinton conceded in the wee hours of November 4. So to actually sit here and say that things were peaceful and the transfer was peaceful, when you had congressional and Republican, Democrat and Republican congressional individuals obstructing and interfering and impeding against President Trump and his agenda. And then you end up having this bogus, false Russian dossier, the Russian witch hunt, the Ukraine witch hunt, this BS impeachment. And let's not even get into the riots and Antifa and BLM and everything else like that. But hey, President Trump conceded it's for the good of the nation, right? But let's ask ourselves this key question. What if what's best for the nation is to not accept the election results? So what if, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying we're gonna, not gonna, or anything like that. As far as we're all concerned, it is December 13th. It is Sunday evening. We're just playing a game of what if. That's all we're doing. But what if it is in America's best interest that Biden and Harris do not assume the reins of power? Now, I know this delves into other areas, like when Alan West was saying, maybe a bunch of states need to get together and form their own union that's loyal to the Constitution. Again, it's another what if. So, like I said, this is one of those things that just really irks me, gets under my skin, pisses me off to no end, just simply for the fact that when I see people on the right, you wonder why the right really has no power. You wonder why individuals that have an R behind their name that claim to be Republican are feckless, weak, ineffective. It's because they don't do anything other than capitulate to the left. I mean, really, when you think about it, what has the Republican Party really done? Now, I'm sure we can sit here and talk for the next hour or two about what the Republican Party under President Donald Trump has done. But this goes back to a statement that my wife had made, and I think it's a great statement. And when we contextualize it today and we juxtapose it to past Republican presidencies and legislative bodies, especially presidencies, if President Trump has been able to accomplish as much as he has in the last 4 years, were past Republican administrations even trying? Now, mind you, just keep this in mind. All of the things that President Trump has managed to accomplish was done with congressional obstruction from both the left and the right, impeachment, and everybody from the mainstream media, the legacy media, Hollywood, all these other folks working against him with an almost 90% negativity reporting from the mainstream media. And look what that man has been able to accomplish. So the question actually is valid. Were past Republican administrations even trying? So I'm going to leave it there. Guys, make sure you check out our show here Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Caramel Conservative. That's right. We're going to be back. We got a big old show lined up. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to have all kinds of crazy stuff develop between now and then. I'm sure Beto O'Rourke, the fake Irish Mexican, he's I'm sure he wants to get himself into there so he can try to start grabbing people's AR-14s and everything like that. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, looking like the supervillains that they are. And, of course, more talk on sedition and treason and all those other wonderful buzzwords. Make a really good spelling campaign here. Also, December 23rd, look forward to the Festivus edition. Boy, have I got a lot to get off my chest this year. 2020 has been a beast, and I'm going to talk to you about it. So on that note, I'll check in with you guys later on. You guys have an outstanding evening. And remember, tomorrow, Monday morning, International Ass Kicking Day. Get ready to go out there and become the best version of yourselves you can be. Good night. God bless you. God bless the USA. I'm out.